We just watched another big-time connection between Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall, who made a beautiful diving catch on a deep corner at today's practice. You can probably hear the pressure washer behind me. That tells us a big thing. The season is approaching. They're getting Levi's Stadium ready. 49ers host the Chargers on Saturday. They're running these practices like a dress rehearsal, which means that training camp officially over, but we're still allowed to watch all of practice, and I'm happy to tell you all about it, including the 6 players who returned today for the 49ers from injury. So we got a lot of news. The 6 guys who returned, though: Renardo, cornerback from the hamstring, made a nice pass breakup against Pearsall, of all people, to announce his return. Jordan Elliott, the veteran defensive tackle, back, and he looked rested and explosive. He beat Nick Zakelj on a couple occasions. Zakelj was playing left guard in place of the injured Dominic Puni. Right guard today was Connor Colby, so the rookie moved over to that right guard position. The 49ers were working out 3 veteran guards, so there's probably still going to be some more shuffling along that offensive line as they get things figured out. Also returning today, Isaac Guerendo. You're going to see him a bit in the highlight package that we have, but the running back has returned. He effectively replaces Patrick Taylor Jr., who's out for the season. He's going to need shoulder surgery following the dislocation at the game on Saturday in Las Vegas. And Jason Pinnock, the safety, also back for the 49ers alongside Sam Okawanu, the defensive lineman. Here's what it all looked like, starting with Isaac Guerendo coming off that shoulder injury. Kyle Shanahan said that he's been able to stay in shape since the lower body wasn't hurt, so he was doing a lot of running around on the side. Now the shoulder feels good enough to practice. Guerendo is back. He caught a pass today deep from Brock Purdy on a wheel route down the sideline. So Isaac Guerendo, with that dual threat capability as a runner and a receiver, can really help the 49ers out. Here you can see that the 49ers only had 3 quarterbacks at practice. That's because Mac Jones sprained his knee. He's going to miss week 3 of the preseason, but Mac is going to be back for week 1. Nate Sudfeld, as we reported, back with San Francisco as QB3 for now, with Carter Bradley taking the second team reps. Rookies Alfred Collins and Sebastian Valdez, and then we pan over to Jordan Elliott, the veteran, wearing number 92. Had a good practice back. He's going to be a starter for the 49ers if he's healthy, if there isn't any roster movement too. That could be a little bit surprising. I know I've talked about potential trades heading up to the cut down, which is a week from now. There's a look at Christian McCaffrey. Right before that, I showed you Jason Pinnock, who is the 49ers safety, back at practice today after missing a couple last week. Jacob Cowing had, I think, his first catch since returning to practice today. It was hard to tell in Las Vegas because I had to keep track of 2 practice fields at once, but Jacob Cowing today did haul in a reception. There is Christian McCaffrey to finish off our highlight package. So there's more to the 49ers injury situation, and we can go through it all right now. Yetur Gross-Matos, who's on the PUP, physically unable to perform list, veteran defensive lineman, who I think is going to be a big versatile piece for the 49ers if he can get healthy. His knee is actually not progressing as quickly as the 49ers had hoped, and Kyle Shanahan today said that there is a chance that he has to stretch out to the regular season PUP list. That's something that the 49ers will determine by the cut down, which will happen on the 26th, so exactly a week from today. The pros and cons of that, well, if Yetur is carried over to the regular season PUP list, and he's eligible for that because he entered training camp on the PUP list, he would miss at least the first 4 weeks of the regular season. No Upton Stout at practice today, no Jawan Jennings at practice today. I would say that for Jawan Jennings, that is becoming more and more concerning with the calf injury. Kyle Shanahan wants him out there sooner rather than later. I know it's all shrouded in some confusion because it's both the calf and the contract happening at the same time for Jawan Jennings. Upton Stout, however, Shanahan said that he does not have worries about his potential week 1 availability. It's a calf issue. They don't want the calf issue to turn into more. We've obviously seen that turn into more with other players, so they're taking it easy with Upton Stout, who had a good workout yesterday, day off today. Maybe we see him back soon. Shanahan said that his week 1 availability is currently not something that he's nervous about. And Michael Williams, he was almost back today. So we might see Michael coming off the knee hyperextension back very, very shortly for the 49ers. But, it's still a long list of players out despite the fact that the 49ers were able to return 6 players today. I mentioned the offensive line. Connor Colby got all those snaps at left guard for San Francisco during the game on Saturday, but that's when Purdy got hurt, so the 49ers didn't have time to shuffle things around. Colby now getting some work at right guard. We'll see the exact 3 names of the veteran guards they worked out, and Nick Zakelj, even though he had fallen down the pecking order now just due to necessity, due to the fact that Ben Bartch and Dominic Puni are both out, Nick Zakelj filling in at Bartch's left guard spot. Bartch, by the way, had a big brace on his right elbow, which is what he hurt, and he was working off on the side. Like Isaac Guerrero, not a lower body injury, so he's able to run pretty fast, and that should allow Bartch to stay in shape until he is cleared to return to the practice field for the 49ers, where today we did see that Renardo Green pass breakup that happened against Ricky Pearsall at the start of this practice. He also had one against Jacob Cowing. So welcome back to Renardo Green. Diomedor Lenoir spoke after practice and said that he is going to be one of the elite premier corners. He said he's going to be very elite in this game, speaking of his teammate Renardo Green. Lenoir also said, he got run over by Ashton Jeanty on Saturday against the Raiders. And Diomedor pointed out, after getting run over by the rookie running back out of Boise State, said you can make 100 good plays. The second that there's one negative play, when you get trucked like that, that's what everybody talks about. It's really the nature of the beast, especially for superstar players who are very scrutinized in the NFL. And social media takes on a negative spin. I think we can all agree on that. So there does seem to be outsized focus for quarterbacks on interceptions, and for somebody like Diomedor Lenoir on the play where Ashton Jeanty barreled him over on Saturday. Going through practice today, 49ers second team offensive line. This is interesting because today they moved to more of a regular season practice cadence, San Francisco did, and that means that ones get more of the reps, and then there are no 3s anymore. It's first team and second team. It's no longer the training camp 1s, 2s, and 3s. So the second team offensive line and Matt Hennessy at center, Drew Moss at left guard, Drake Nugent at right guard, Austin Pleasance at right tackle, and Isaac Alarcon at left tackle. So Pleasance obviously still in the lead to be the 49ers backup right tackle, because Spencer Burford has only been operating on the left side. He had a good game for San Francisco on Saturday, but Burford might be also needed at one of the guard positions, right? That he obviously is better at tackle than guard. That's something that the 49ers have discovered over the course of his career, but he might be needed at guard now that Bartch is down and Dominic Puni is down at the right guard position. So we'll see how the 49ers end up playing that, but they're trying to give the rookies as much experience time as possible, with Colby now moving to the right side. Jacob Robinson, pass breakup today, nice play. Jacob Robinson, he's a rookie that a lot of people are talking about, and rightfully so, because he has been making plays consistently at practice, learning the playbook, getting comfortable, raising the floor of his play. That's one of the big challenges for rookies, to make the team and get some playing time. He still isn't at the very top of the depth chart, but with Trey Brown, he's one of the many players still out. That moves Jacob Robinson one spot up the pecking order, and that means that in a practice like this, where the 49ers are more into regular season mode, he is getting quite a bit of run with the second team. Started camp with the third team, now with the second team for the 49ers. And you know who else is making some plays? Jalen Mahoney. And I think that's a really good story, because Jalen was cut earlier in camp, and then all these safety injuries happened. So the 49ers re-signed him. He had the huge interception against the Raiders to set up Jake Moody's game-winning field goal. And now Mahoney is making plenty of plays for the second team in practice for San Francisco. So a lot of that kind of stuff happening right now for the 49ers. It's a tricky time, different injury timelines, different return to play timelines. They're trying to get as many guys as possible ready for week 1, but they need this depth to flex in practice situations while some guys aren't fully ramped up yet. And I think that Jalen Mahoney deserves a shout out for that. Sebastian Valdez made a couple plays today. Explosive pass rush beat Drew Moss over the left side at guard for San Francisco. Ricky Pearsall scored a touchdown in red zone work for the 49ers. Further along in red zone work, Curtis Robinson, who I think he had a big hit on special teams in this game against the Raiders on Saturday. Curtis Robinson is now firmly getting some second-team defensive snaps, so he's coming off the ACL, which happened at the end of September last year. The big hit on special teams the other day in the game, I think, re-announced his arrival onto the scene, and now the reps that he's getting seem to be quality ones at practice. And there was a funny moment today because he accidentally took Jake Tonjes, the tight end, down to the ground. Tonjes kind of lost his footing after a nice hit from Curtis Robinson. But you're not supposed to tackle to the ground at these practices. That's just how the 49ers and most teams around the league run things. Tonjes went to Cal, Curtis Robinson went to Stanford, and then immediately Robinson helped Tonjes up, patted him on the helmet, said, sorry, I didn't mean to take you to the ground. It really wasn't a malicious play. Tonjes just lost his footing. But a little bit of love between two college rivals, Stanford and Cal, with Curtis Robinson and Jake Tonjes in on that play. I talk about the wow catch from Ricky Pearsall. That was on a dive, on a nice throw again from Brock Purdy. 49ers installing their game plan for this matchup on Saturday against Jim Harbaugh's Chargers. Then there was a fumble. Isaiah Hodgins, veteran receiver, seems to be jockeying for position with Russell Gage as one of the veteran depth pieces who the 49ers might need to rely on, especially at the start of this regular season when they've got some receivers out. Hodgins fumbled. Sam Okawanu forced it. That's the defensive lineman who returned to action for the 49ers today, and Derek Canteen recovered it. Another great catch today, I didn't mention this one, was Brock Purdy to George Kittle. This one also a deeper sideline catch where Kittle was able to get both feet in bounds, despite the fact that I thought that Luke Gifford, who was in on coverage, the 49ers' third linebacker, there might have been some real contact there. Might have shoved Kittle a little too early. I thought it might push Kittle out of bounds, but he was still able to get both feet in. So, long story short, big players are making big plays for the 49ers offensively. You saw it during the game on Saturday. We've seen it throughout all of training camp. We'll see how many starters actually do play this next Saturday. Shanahan said that a lot will probably sit against the Chargers, but in the past he has played his quarterback in week 3 of the preseason, and he's given his quarterback longer than in week 2. We're just not sure how Shanahan's going to approach this, especially with Mac Jones having sprained his knee in that game against the Raiders on Saturday. So anyway, 6 players back for the 49ers. 3 players working on the side that were close to us. That was Jordan James, the running back, coming off of the finger injury. Saw a little bandage on his finger. Ben Barch with the elbow brace I told you about. Robert Beal Jr. was working with one of the trainers as well. I would say concern growing for Jennings, but it does seem that Upton Stout is getting closer to returning. I'm sure that is something that 49ers fans would love to see this year. Jordan Elliott's big play, he was one of the standouts today, as I mentioned. He had a big rush against Nick Zakelj. This was probably was going to be a sack. Brock Purdy was probably going to be taken down if it were a real game by Jordan Elliott on the play, but he heaved it anyway to deep center field. Was trying to look for Malik Turner, 49ers receiver, on the play, but it was intercepted by Jair Brown. But again, it probably would have been a sack, but a lot of guys involved in on that play, and I think that it highlighted one of the weak points of the 49ers offense, and maybe an improving point of the 49ers defense, with Jordan Elliott back looking good, but the offensive line right now, right up that middle with those couple injuries, with Nick Zakelj now back on the first team, that offensive line is going to have to make sure to figure things out ahead of Brock Purdy. And like I said, they're working out 3 guards, so I'm going to have an update later for you today regarding who those guards are, how the 49ers are proceeding, and 2 more practices coming up this week. That means a couple more helmet updates here from Levi's, where we have the pressure washing continuing. They're getting ready for preseason week 3. And then after that, they're getting ready for the regular season. Thanks for watching. We will talk to everybody very soon.